Hello there, YouTube. This is the Rogue Gem Player, and I'm coming at you with a Ashen deck profile. Um, as you guys know, we do have a ban list incoming at the end, somewhere in August, so it's time to get profiles up, get things set up, so that when the new sets come out and the new ban list comes out, we can make the changes that we need to be. But I got the deck, so why not? So let's start off. We're playing 3 copies of Vados, the Eruption Dragon. It's your win con. You need to play 3 of this card. You absolutely cannot play the deck without it. It's literally you're using this card's effect to literally trigger all your plays. So, and then for the Ashen, so for the actual like Ashen stuff, so we're gonna start with the 3 ofs, which is only the Priestess on. So when you have the Obsidian on the board, all of the main deck Ashen monsters special themselves once per turn. When this card is normal or special, you add an Ashen card from deck to hand, so it can search everything except for the quick play spell Awakening of Vados. But we have ways of, but it does have a way of searching out Vados when you do need it. So it does get into the rest of your plays. It also searches the field spell as well. And then some people are only playing 1, but I play 2, and that is 2 copies of Shaman of the Ashen City. It's a resource loop that you can always have access to. It's another level 4 that you can search if you already have things, and then it also searches out Obsidian if you do need it, which is important because you always have to have access to it. So, because the field spell does recycle itself. And then for the 1-ofs, so we're playing the 1 king for the combo. You're summoning it off of the Ashen City, which is important because it just gives you more monsters. It also gives you access to every single Ashen card in the deck. The 1 hero, one of its targets. It's one of those being able to get the get Obsidian, also get the Vados on the board, and then we're playing the 1 copy of Spearhead. You can cut this if you want. It's kind of one of those. It's a level 4 that you can search, but it also has that one random time where you can bounce a card your opponent controls. So it's neat to have. We're then playing for the hand trap stuff. We're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. You don't need to play things like Nibiru and things because Vados board wipes every time you use his effect. So you don't need to play things like Nibiru, but you do need to Ash because not only is it a cross-out target, but you also need to be able to stop your opponent when you absolutely need to. And then we're playing 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. You do some searching, but not too much, which is important. So, but it's also another cross-out target. So that's all that's the monster portion of the non-engine. So for spells, we're playing 3 copies of Awakening of Vados. So how this card works is you place an Obsidian from your deck face up on either field zone, and then if your opponent controls a card in the field zone, i.e. you place the Obsidian on their side of the field, you can add a Dark Pyro the level 5 or higher, but it does lock you into Pyros for the rest of the turn. So you basically search Vados, and then Vados, you can use its effect to summon itself, and then nuke the board and that type of thing. It's one of a number of ways to get to Vados, which is important. We're then playing 3 copies of the field spell. During your turn, when it's face up, all special summon monsters you control become Pyro on your opponent's side of the field, and then when this card is destroyed, it floats, and then it floats into you can summon an Ashen monster from the deck when it's destroyed or banished. Also, when it's in the graveyard, you can target. When you have another copy on the field, you can target 1 copy of this in your graveyard, shuffle it, and draw a card. So you always have access to the field spell when you need it. There's just so many ways. And then the last Ashen card, which is 3 copies of Extinguishing the Ashen, which is another way of searching Vados, because you can send Vados. So how it works is you send a Dark Pyro from deck to grave, and then add a level 5 or higher Pyro from your graveyard to your hand. It does lock into Pyros for the rest of the turn. from the extra deck, which is fine because you're searching Vados off of it. It's another way of searching it. It's also, when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to fusion summon. So that's pretty cool. We're then playing for the non-engine random staple stuff. 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. You need to get to your engine as quickly as possible. You don't really use your extra deck all that much, especially since the deck board wipes really heavily. So keep that in mind. 3 copies of Crossout Designator, just because we do not want our opponent negating us. We don't want them stopping us in any way, shape, or form. Triple Tactics Talent. 1 Called by the Grave, and then something I'm kind of testing is 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More. You do get occasions where you kind of need to just stop your opponent for a turn. You'll notice no bonfires. 1, I don't have any copies, and 2, the deck has so much searching you don't really need to add any more. You can if you play those if you want to. And then for traps, the 1 copy of Eternity and the 1 copy of Endlessness. This recurs Vados or an Ashen monster on activation from your graveyard to your hand. You can target one, and then you can kind of you can make. It's kind of one of those. It recurs at advantage. This one during your main phase, you can fusion summon using monsters on either side of the field. So it's a super poly if you have the field spell. Unfortunately, you can only use it during your turn because Obsidian only makes them. Pyros during your turn, unfortunately. However, it does have an effect where it turns all monsters on the field into Pyros, so if you really wanted to, you can play more. So there is that. And then the last major hand trap is 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, because holy hell, this is a good card. So for the extra deck, it's kind of whatever you want it to be. If you have cards like SP Little Knight and things like that, you can play them, but you're very rarely going to access this extra deck outside of a very couple of cards. So we're playing 2 copies of Embers of the Ashen. It's a generic fusion for this deck specifically because it is 2 Pyros. It also recurs the field spell, and then it can if it battles a Pyro, you can destroy it. But since you're going to be using the field spell to turn them into Pyros, and then it can attack twice in a row if you use that effect. So, but it's kind of one of those. It's very easy to make. It's very accessible. And then we're playing 2 copies of the Endless Darkness of Vados. It's basically a big Vados that also cannot be destroyed by card effects. When it's on the board, it does require 2 level 9 or lower Pyros along with Vados itself, so keep that in mind. And then it's just, you can destroy all spell traps when it's fusion summoned. When your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, you can send an Ashen card you control, destroy it. And also it's kind of one of those, because it doesn't die to old Vados, you can have this and Vados on the board at the same time. So, and then Infernal Flame Banshee, because it's a searchable, it turns any Pyro into a searchable target. This is the rank 4 stuff. Abyss Dweller, Dugaris, this recurs a monster. Like I said, there's a lot of things you can and can't play. It really depends on how you want to build it. But you're very rarely going to access this extra deck, honestly. And then the Lynx IP, Hitta, because you have Fire's Unicord as the SP replacement. Selene, because you're playing spellcasters, or you're playing that random spellcaster. Promethean Princess as part of the Amblo Whale combo. And then we're playing the Appaloosa and Access Code as our one-of stuff. So it's an interesting deck. It's by no means super consistent. It has its own, it has its own weaknesses. Mainly because it's also TC exclusive. I'm sure at some point they're going to give us a OCG import that completely busts the deck. Like, this card is broken as heck. Being able to just nuke your opponent is the reason why cards like Nibiru are not needed, Lightning Storm, stuff like that, because they have to address the Vados immediately, or you're going to just continue rolling into advantage because you're nuking their board every single time you do it, which is pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe. Help me get to 100 subs, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.